Hola y bienvenidos a un nuevo vídeo del canal. Estamos aquí de vuelta con la continuación de la misión legendaria, en este caso, o misión de Arconte, de la transposición de la Génesis, que como ya sabéis es el intermedio de este tercer acto del juego. Y básicamente vamos a continuar hablando con Amenogatogo, ya que Scaramuccia ha causado toda una serie de inesperados eventos en el Yrminsul y eres el único al tanto de lo ocurrido. Es hora de ir a Inazuma para comprobar el alcance de dichas consecuencias. Lo que digo, no sabemos qué ha pasado después de que Scaramuccia la liara parda. Hay que tener fe, pero la cosa puede complicarse mucho porque parece que nadie más se acuerda, en este caso, de nuestro amigo el Fatui. Así que vamos a hablar aquí con la herrería Amenoma a ver qué ha pasado.
It's been a while.
Hola, estoy buscando algo de información.
Of course. Go ahead.
Hábleme de las 5 escuelas Raiden.
Oh. Now there's a question I wasn't expecting. The once renowned Raiden Gokuden, comprised of 5 branches. Amenoma, Futsu, Ishin, Hyakume, and Senju. The art of forging practiced by these 5 clans was first taught to them personally by the almighty Shogun. Over time, the 5 branches diverged from one another as generations of bladesmiths honed and perfected their craft until most of the great swordsmith clans of old have since fallen into decline. And for a long time, only the Amenoma branch kept its art alive. But fortunately, Kaede Harakazuha recently returned to Inazuma and took up the mantle of the Ishin art. Now, 2 clans remain of the original Gokuden 5. If my memory serves me right, you yourself were present when he forged the Ishin blade.
Oh yeah, we were! Paimon remembers that now. We learned a bit about the decline of the Raiden Gokuden then too. It seems like such a shame.
Espera, ¿cuál fue el motivo?
That, my friends, is a tragic tale indeed. In fact, this was not made known to me for most of my life. All these years, I knew of those great clans' demise, but never the cause. He told me that, as we are both heirs to a branch of the Raiden Gokuden, it was right that I should know the truth. There is no harm in telling you, but I must warn you. It is a dark and sorrowful tale. The Raiden Gokuden were the targets of a murderous rampage by a vengeful bladesmith.
Vengeful? Why?
400 years ago, so I'm told, there was a catastrophic malfunction in Tatarasuna's furnace. One brave swordsmith heard the commotion and chose not to flee, but he rushed to the scene, hoping to prevent a disaster. Tatarasuna was home to a state-of-the-art forging and smelting operation in that day, and overseeing it was the armory officer. His surname was Niwa, though he had family ties to the Kaedehara clan. Knowing that they had just one chance to save countless lives, Mr. Niwa and the swordsmith leaped together into the furnace. The furnace quickly stabilized, but neither of them made it out. The smith's death, though heroic, dealt a devastating blow to his family's fortunes. His orphan son was left to fend for himself.
Vaya.
And
Ha
grew
cambiado
up
la
deeply
historia,
resentful at the in his heart. The whole of Inazuma was culpable in his tragedy. He hated the almighty Shogun for her apparent indifference towards his father's death. Powerless and destitute, the only legacy he had to pass on to his children was, alas, if only the story could have ended there. But 100 years ago, the then head of this family reached, finally, he made a drastic decision to take revenge on the Raiden Gokuden. In doing so, he sought to vent his pent anger. In his fury, he murdered indiscriminately, killing even bladesmiths from the Hyakume clan, which he belonged to. His goal was absolute, the devastation of all of the Raiden Gokuden. But when he came to the Kaedehara and Kamisato clans, his killing spree came to an abrupt end. He failed to catch them unawares. They fought back fiercely, and they did not spare his life. That is why the Kaedahara clan and their Ishin art survived that day. I suppose they were the lucky ones, under the dire circumstances.
La leyenda de las 5 escuelas Raiden ha cambiado. Alguien más atacó a los herreros. Aunque Scaramuccia haya alterado el Yrminsul, parece que Niwa acabó falleciendo de igual modo.
Was there anything else you wanted to ask?
¿Ha visto a Kazuha últimamente?
Kazuha? Why, yes. Just yesterday, in fact. We spoke for a while over some tea. He seemed well.
Vale, sigue existiendo y es el mismo Kazuha que conocemos. Eso es todo, muchas gracias.
My pleasure.
Don't tell Paimon. There are other places you want to visit too, right? Your expression says it all. You can't hide anything from Paimon. On to the next stop. Lead the way, traveler. Paimon will be...
Pues nada, vamos a ver qué más cosas han cambiado, ¿vale? Prueba de valor. ¿Cómo que prueba de valor? Ah, el evento. Pues nada, voy a grabar un poquito trozos del evento y ahora luego continuamos, my friends, por aquí. Ok, lo siguiente que tenemos que hacer en este caso para continuar con esta aventura principal es venir a la Comisión Yashiro, así que nos teletransportamos y venimos aquí a su sede.
Traveler, it's been a while.
¡Hola!
If you're looking for the Commissioner and Miss Kamisato,
Are they out on business?
The Commissioner is out on business, and Miss Kamisato is standing in for some meetings in the Commissioner's place.
What do you think? Shall we go in?
Gracias, eso haremos. ¿Podemos dar una vuelta por el patio?
If it were anyone else, I couldn't allow it. But seeing as you're so
Vale, dice
close
que no hay
with...
problema.
We'll be heading in
Ok,
then.
pues vamos para adentro. Vamos a ver aquí que ha cambiado también, porque, ojo, aquí está fruta.
Hello, dears. Is there something you want to say?
Disculpe, ¿podría hacerle un par de preguntas?
Of course, traveler. Yes, I know who you are. Miss Kamisato has told me about you. What would you like to know?
¿Cómo han estado el comisionado y la señorita Kamisato estos días?
Oh, they're both very well indeed. Lately, Miss Kamisato has been rather busy attending all kinds of meetings and occasionally paying visits to some local organizations on the... As for the commissioner himself, well, you know, busy as ever. That much hasn't changed. Although, he does seem to be in a rather good mood these days.
So pretty much business as usual in the Yashiro Commission, huh?
Very much so.
Hayato sigue a cargo de la Comisión Yashiro y ya casi siendo la dama de la casa, no ha cambiado nada. Por lo que veo tampoco ha habido ningún cambio en la Comisión Yashiro. Ya me esperaba algo así, pero me tranquiliza saber que Hayato y Ayaka están bien.
Well, got any more questions?
Eso es todo por ahora, muchas gracias.
You're very welcome. In fact, I would love nothing more than for you to come and... Miss Kamisato talks about you all the time. She seems so thrilled to have you as a friend. I must say, many things in Inazuma seem to have taken a turn for the better since you arrived here. So you're not just Miss Kamisato's knight in shining armor, you know. You're a hero to us all.
Me siento halagado.
I mean it. Whenever the commissioner dines at home, Toma always joins him. I always find myself at my most relaxed when I'm serving the two of them and listening to them chat away. The commissioner has such a busy schedule that he doesn't always have the chance to take his meals at home. But given the opportunity,
Vale.
they say it's because Toma's a much better chef than most. Oh, the commissioner is so fond of home comforts. They get to talking about you sometimes too, you know. Always with a very fond tone. The way one would talk about dear old friends around whom one can truly be. Miss Kamisato occasionally joins them as well. Whenever the whole family gets together and they start talking about people they've met and experiences they've had, you always get a mention. It's been many years now since the late Mr. and Mrs. Kamisato passed away. Much has happened in the Kamisato clan in that time. As someone who is old and gray enough to have watched their son and daughter grow up, it makes me so happy to see them meet a dependable friend whose company they enjoy so much. So, in the future, if you ever do have the time, please know you are always very welcome at the Yashiro Commission headquarters. There will always be at least one old lady who would be
Muchísimas gracias. Volveré a
delighted to have
visitarla.
the Wonderful.
Paimon likes it here too. Also, you were saying something about the food here being really... Paimon's itching to try it. We may just have to invite ourselves around for dinner sometime. Paimon meant we should...
Of course.
Alright, goodbye for now.
Vamos a Tatarasuna.
Great. Goodbye, ma'am. Don't worry, we'll...
All right then.
Vamos a ver si allí descubrimos algo de lo que está pasando por aquí.
Are you
Ojo,
two
aquí
leaving
está
already?
Hirotatsu.
Yep. Everything's taken care of now. Don't worry.
Very well. Safe travels.
Pues vamos al siguiente destino. Vale, en este caso hay que ir a buscar pistas para seguir aquí con la danza de la destrucción. Así que nos vamos a otra de las islas. Concretamente vamos a venir aquí y a ver qué pasa.
Well, here we are.
Vamos a ver.
But what are we looking for? Something or someone?
Do my eyes deceive me, or is that the traveler in Paimon?
Xavier? What are you doing here?
I was in the general area, and now I'm in this specific area. There, that's me. So what about you two?
We have some questions and thought you might be able to help.
¿Conoces bien Tatarasuna?
Certainly do. I've researched the furnace here in some depth. If there's anything you want to know, just ask away.
¿Cómo de familiarizado estás con la historia de esta zona?
Like the back of my hand. Make no mistake, I have been here a good many times before. Not only that, but I've met people in Inazuma whose families used to live in Tatarasuna years ago. They said it's all true, the history here.
Continúa, por favor, te escucho.
Oh, well, it's a long story, don't you know? The tale of Tatarasuna starts a long time ago. I'm told that its history is one of the most foremost forging and smelting operations in the nation, goes back around 1,000 years. Still, the furnace has had a couple of serious maintenance issues along the way.
A couple? When exactly?
One was just in the last few years, the other was several hundred years ago. A fun fact, I'm not the first Fontaine tech guy to come and work on it either. There was a guy back then too. They say he was a mechanic who consulted on a technology upgrade. It seems like the technological collaboration between our two nations goes back a long way. How about that?
Conoce un mecánico, parece que Doctores saboteó el horno y dio lugar a todo el subsiguiente caos.
Weren't you gonna ask Xavier something about Tatarasuna?
Estoy en ello.
Oh, I didn't realize you two were here for a history lesson.
Me neither. Paimon doesn't know what's gotten into this.
What brought this on? Did you just wake up today with a sudden burning desire for historical
Algo
knowledge?
así. Entonces, ¿puedo hacer una pregunta más?
Sure, go ahead.
¿Has oído hablar de un kabuki mono relacionado con Tarazuna?
A kabuki mono? I do know the word. Inazuman for those eccentric types who always go around dressed to the nines. Just the sort of person that I'd like to meet, actually. But sadly, I've never had the pleasure, nor have I come across anything to do with a kabuki mono where Tatarasuna is concerned.
Así que ya no hay kabuki mono. ¿Realmente logró Scaramuccia borrarse de la historia por completo? Si es así, debe haber querido cambiar el mundo y revertir todo a la forma en la que estaba, pero hasta ahora parece que la mayoría de los cambios solo le han afectado a él mismo. Gracias, Xavier.
Of course! Don't mention it.
Oh, we're leaving?
Oh, you're most welcome. More than farewell.
Pues nada, hasta la
Looks like you
próxima.
got all the information you're looking for.
Hora de volver y hacerle una visita a la reina menor Kusanali.
Sure, but keep your smile, Spinal Crocodile. No matter what happens, Paimon will always be there for you.
Gracias, Paimon.
Hey, don't mention it. All right, let's head off and go.
Pues nada, vamos a ver a Naida. Tenemos lo del trofeo de ecos del pasado, que entiendo que es de este interludio, así que vamos a Sumeru. Y como ya sabéis, lo más fácil es transportarnos aquí, ¿vale? Al santuario Surastasa, para poder llegar dentro y rápido a hablar con nuestra amiga. Esto es el acto final del Kabukimono, así que tenemos una nueva misión. Y no sé cómo va a concluir esto, pero algo me dice que se está llegando al final, así que ¡vamos allá!
Hey, it's them.
¿Eh? Acaba el otro, ¿no?
Akaba, Sawada, you're still here?
¿Todavía están hablando sobre la tesis?
Indeed we are. If you have a moment, we'd love for you to join us once more.
We have time. What do you want to talk to us about?
It's the same topic we discussed last time. Obviously.
Still looking for more info about Tatarasuna, huh? Should we join them?
Unfortunately, we haven't made any real progress.
Lo que escribieron la última vez me pareció genial.
Huh? Oh,
¿Vale? Ha cambiado todo. ¡Ostras!
I
Vale.
presume you'll want to read mine as well. Here.
Aquí está lo de Sawada, ¿no? Me ha petado bastante con todo esto porque es lo que digo, realmente estamos viendo cambios interesantes. Extracto 2. El contenido es distinto al de la ocasión anterior, otra consecuencia más de haber modificado la información del Yrminsul. Scaramuccia dijo que eliminaría 2 de sus identidades, no habría sido fácil conseguir lo que tanto deseaba, pero aún así...
well, what do you think?
Esto es una obra maestra.
Hey, Traveler, remember how last time Akaba was saying how he wished he could gather more information about all this? Well, we just got back from Inazuma, so how about we tell them what we learned?
What did you find out? Something big?
It's a long story. Basically, we have...
Vale, vamos a contarle todo lo de las 5 escuelas de Raiden.
Wow, so many new details.
Well, well. So it all comes down to one man's desire for revenge. Huh. You heard this from a member of the Armanoma clan, you say? Then I guess it must be true. Ugh. So there's no ghost story here after all.
This new information actually lends further credence to my hypothesis. Evidently, swordsmiths were seen as having an incredibly prestigious role in society those days, to the extent that harming them was conceived of, at least by the perpetrator, as a way of exacting revenge against those in power.
Yes, okay, point taken, you were right. But that doesn't mean I can't carry on with my novel.
And they're back at it. These
Tenemos un
guys
asunto de
are
los que
really-
ocuparnos. Que vaya bien,
I'm so
gente.
sorry. Look at
You're welcome. See ya.
Hasta la próxima.
Keep us in the loop if you find out anything else.
Will do.
Vale, pues nosotros ahora lo que tenemos que hacer es importantísimo, así que hay que hablar con Naida y a ver un poquito qué está pasando. Entiendo que todo esto tiene sentido, ¿no? Por el tema de que, como ya sabéis, Wanderer es Scaramuccia, ¿no? Pero como que está purgado del mal o algo así, así que entiendo que algo ha pasado, pero bueno, vamos a hablar con Naida y a salir de dudas.
Nahida, we're here.
Nahida, estamos aquí.
Traveler, Paimon, how have you been? Ugh, where to start? Paimon hasn't had a moment's rest this whole time. That night, we ended up chatting until suddenly the sun was up. And then he decided he wanted to go to Inazuma.
Estuvimos investigando el asunto de Scaramuccia.
The Balladeer? It sounds like some kind of code name.
No me fastidies, ni ella se acuerda.
You look troubled. Is there something you need to tell me?
Ni siquiera Naida lo recuerda, tal y como sucedió la última vez cuando cualquier cambio en el Yrminsul le afectará a ella también. Tal y como yo pensaba, Scaramuccia actúa con rapidez, consiguió eliminarse a sí mismo antes de que Nahida lograse detenerle. Soy el único que recuerda todo lo que ha sido eliminado, tendré que hacer de cronista una vez más.
Traveler? Hey, what's wrong?
Hay cosas que solo yo puedo recordar. No puedo ocultarles la verdad por más tiempo. ¿Vale? Hubo una época en la que existió alguien llamado Scaramuccia, una marioneta del arconte electro que deambulaba por el mundo de los mortales. Tras vivir una serie de trágicos sucesos en Tatarasuna, Scaramuccia pensó que lo habían traicionado por tercera vez. Fue entonces cuando abandonó Inazuma y vagó errante por el mundo. Desconfiado de humanos y odiando de sobremanera a los dioses, continuó alimentando su ira conforme se volvía cada vez más fuerte. Finalmente llegó el día en el que regresó a Inazuma para vengarse e intentó servirse de su gnosis para convertirse en un dios, pero tan solo acabó perdiéndolo todo. Finalmente se adentró en el Yrminsul y descubrió la verdad sobre quién lo traicionó. Ahora que fue consciente de que su vida estaba basada en una sarta de mentiras, cometió una locura impensable para intentar borrar su trágico pasado.
That's quite a story. So, this puppet known as the Balladeer erased himself from Yrminsul, hoping that he could change the past. But how was he even able to do that? As the traveler said, he very nearly became Sumeru's deity. Admittedly, I remember it a little differently. I don't recall finding anyone inside
Claro, ahora en la
the machine
batalla
after we
Scaramuccia no
defeated
está.
it. Nevertheless, it does make sense. If someone were to successfully erase themselves from Yrminsul, the world would change to reflect the new reality. So, you believe this person really existed, and we just don't remember him because, well, because he literally changed the world? Yes. Theoretically speaking, it is possible to do this. But I'm struggling to imagine the kind of person who would dare go through with it. The traveler comes from a world beyond to that. That's why there's no information about him in Yrminsul, and it also explains why any changes to Yrminsul wouldn't affect him. So if there's anyone in the world capable of retaining memories from a past that has been rewritten, it's you. It's quite incredible when you think about it.
Realmente lo es.
Paimon's having a hard time understanding this Balladeer, guys. I can only make inferences based on the information we've been given. As for what kind of person he was, only you remember that.
Yo no estoy seguro. Siempre hemos sido enemigos, no tengo ni idea de qué fue lo que le llevó a hacer todo lo que hizo, ni por qué siempre se mostró tan despiadado. Yo tampoco logro comprenderlo. ¿Acaso intentó borrarlo todo y comenzar de cero? ¿Quería salvar a alguien? ¿Pretendía destruir por completo su propia existencia? Aún estoy a tiempo de enmendar los errores del pasado. Ha llegado el momento de tomar la decisión correcta. Quizás sea esa la respuesta a todo. Recuerdo que me hizo una pregunta antes de marcharse. En aquel momento dudé y él lo tomó como una respuesta. Dudé porque yo mismo presencié como el Yrminsul eliminaba todo el rastro de la existencia de la reina menor Ruka de Bata. Pero eso no puedo contárselo a Naida. En otras palabras, no soy capaz de explicar por qué motivo Scaramuccia hizo lo que hizo.
Something else worrying you? Something that you can't share?
Tengo la sensación de que todo ha sido en vano.
It couldn't change the fate of the ones who had died, right?
En efecto.
Once the balladeer realized he hadn't been betrayed after all, it must have completely changed his view of the people of Tatarasuna. He couldn't keep hating humans after that. And if he thought there was a chance he could save his old friends, it would be hard not to try. The story makes sense, every part of it. The balladeer tried to achieve godhood with the doctor's help. He was unsuccessful, but retained the power to connect with Yrminsul. That power then enabled him to change what was recorded in Yrminsul and erase himself, even though he didn't have much strength left. Yeah, it does make sense, but it still ended in tragedy for his friends. It just feels so hopeless. He gave everything to do this, but it seems like he got nothing in return.
Así es, su esfuerzo logró cambiar el mundo, pero no logró salvarlos, no pudo devolverles la vida. ¿Contra qué luchaba? ¿Las tradiciones que vivió durante su vida? ¿Acaso creía que su propia existencia era un error?
Please wait a moment. I want to check something. Found it. This should be the one. It turns out that I have a strange way of confirming everything he has told us. What is it? A record from a personal collection. It was tucked away in a corner. You should take a look.
A ver. Sorprendentemente el registro adquiere el aspecto de un cuento.
Is this a fairy tale? Who wrote it?
Esto coincide con todo lo que les conté.
I authored this record myself. Huh? You wrote a When combined with the traveler's narrative, it's clear that this story is an allegory. Everything in it is a symbol for something else. Hold on. So this record survived from the... Yes. Any information about the balladeer or the kabuki mono in other records will have been changed. But I wrote this story in a way that means it was left intact. Changing the information in Yrminsul changes to that. But Yrminsul can't change information that was well hidden in advance. I guess I must have written this story as a backup before the balladeer entered Yrminsul. That's incredible! What a great idea! And sending the traveler into Yrminsul with the balladeer must have been a further precaution. I knew he'd remember everything. This story is abstract enough that it still resonates with the present information recorded in Yrminsul. But if we connect all the different pieces together, the true story that emerges is the one he told us, the now erased life of the balladeer. There was once a lone monster draped in fox fur. The monster found a family of foxes, joined them, and they became friends. The monster lived with the family day and night, and everyone treated it as one of their own. Once in a while, the monster would take off its fox fur at night and lament to itself as it gazed at its reflection in the water. I am a monstrosity, yet they are too foolish to see it. I pity them. But the monster soon found solace when another came to live among the foxes who was not their kin. A kitten, carved from the wood of a white tree who had been abandoned by the humans. The kitten too wished to become a fox, but its tail was too slender and it could not grow a coat of richly colored fur. Yet when the other foxes saw this, they spoke words of comfort to the kitten. Even without a tail and fur like ours, you are still one of us. Furious at this happy resolution, the monster lit a fire on the mountain. The terrified animals panicked as the fire spread. The only way to extinguish the flames was to make a sacrifice. A gray fox stood up and addressed the monster. It said, "You are the cleverest among us. Surely you can help us find a way to solve this." The monster smiled, led the fox toward the fire, and murdered it. the gray fox's heart was turned into a beautiful drop of water, clear, spotless, and pure. The monster gave the heart of water to the kitten, telling him, "The foxes have decided. You are the one who must be sacrificed. Take this, quench the flames, and die for your fox kin." The fire was extinguished, but the kitten lived. It left that side of the mountain and found a little bird who had a broken wing. The two promised they would spend their whole lives together, but the little bird did not have long left to live. It passed away soon after. After burying the bird, the kitten left the mountain for good. Never again would it cherish a single creature, nor a single blade of grass that stood on that mountain. The kitten spent the nights wandering aimlessly, gnashing its teeth at the moon. How it wished to swallow the moon and devour the moonlight. If the world could only return to darkness, then it would finally be peaceful and content. I will become the new moon, the answer to everything. Then, no one will know that there were once birds, foxes, and cats in this world. And no one can know that they were different.
Vaya, ha estado bastante guapo, hay que decirlo.
We solved it! I remember now. This is not just the balladeer's story. It is his very own memories. I made a backup so that it would be preserved no matter what happened. To become a god, he was experimented on and modified countless times. It was brutal torture, and the only reason he was able to survive is that he was a puppet. This memory was extracted from him by the scholars. Presumably, they kept it to have something to defend themselves with. Creating a deity was just the first step. Some of them wanted to be able to control it. That's why they backed up his memory for later use. I buried it deep inside one of my own dreams, and then hid it inside an allegorical story so that it wouldn't be altered. It's hard to believe that this person really existed, let alone that he tried to get rid of us on more than one occasion. Paimon has no memory of him at all. He completely vanished like a The balladeer agreed to help me look for information about the Descenders, and although he was unsuccessful, he still helped you. Before he vanished, he confirmed an important detail, that Conria was where your twin first came into this world. We still don't know how the change to Yrminsul will affect the senior ranks of the Fatui, but in all likelihood, they won't even remember their own harbinger. It sounds like Paimon wouldn't like this guy a whole lot if he was still around. But still, Paimon doesn't like the way it all ended that much better. This is why wisdom alone cannot answer all our questions. We look, we see, and we comprehend, but the question still troubles us. So the answer is not everything. People yearn to find the truth and then conquer the troubles they face. When you give someone the truth, you give them a chance to choose their own destiny. To others looking on, this may seem like a pointless endeavor, but for him, the chance to act on his desire to disappear must have meant a lot. Never forget that even when we walk beneath dark clouds along a road filled with suffering, the light of wisdom is always there, and that is what you have been doing all along. Yeah, Mihit is right. Cheer up! How about we go get something to eat? We can pick up this heavy conversation again later. Good idea. Paimon, why don't you take him out for a walk to clear his head? You got it! Come on, traveler! You need to get out of your head for a while. Let's go get a snack for one of the stalls in the Grand Bazaar! That'll be sure to lift our spirits! It must be really tough being the only one who remembers all that. But Paimon's always here to help.
Dicen que me van a animar, pero es lo que digo, realmente A ver, esto ha sido un descubrimiento bastante tocho, ¿eh? O sea, poca broma con todo lo que ha ido pasando por aquí. Yo creo que realmente toda la trama de Sumeru ha sido bastante top, ¿eh? O sea, incluso esto. Lo que digo, me ha gustado muchísimo todo lo que hemos ido viendo. Y bueno, vamos a ver qué pasa por aquí, ¿no? Venimos, ya sabéis, a la academia y por aquí podemos cruzar y pasar al otro. Hay que bajar hacia abajo, ¿eh? Lo bueno que por aquí puedo hacer magia y ¡pum! Ahí estamos. Aunque queda un poquito, pero ya hemos bajado bastante. Seguro que aquí nos lo encontramos, ya os lo voy diciendo.
We're here! What should we eat first?
Tengo un mal presentimiento, como si algo no encajase, como si hubiera olvidado algo muy importante.
Hey, are you gonna answer or what?
Perdona, Paimon, estaba pensando en algo. Paimon está en prende, ya está con siempre.
Alright, whatever you want. Well, Paimon will be right here when you figured stuff out.
¿Qué era? ¿Será algún tipo de pista? Es algo sobre Yrminsul y eliminarse a uno mismo. Reina Mayor Ruca de Bata, conocimiento prohibido,
What
Najida.
is it? Have you figured it all out?
Sí, eso es, la Reina Mayor Ruca de Bata dijo que nadie puede eliminar su existencia por completo, ni siquiera ella misma. O si no, porque habría creado su propia reencarnación en la Reina Menor Kusanali para que se adentrase en el Yrminsul y la eliminara. No tendría sentido.
Why'd you jump up all of a sudden?
No puedo contárselo a Paimon, ella no sabe nada sobre la Reina Mayor Ruca de Bata. Pero es un detalle crucial, Scaramuccia no ha podido borrar su existencia por completo, así que, ¿qué ha pasado con él realmente?
Excuse me, boss. There seems to be a small problem with the
Ahí
last
está.
bill. Look, here.
Pa.
Hey! Hey, wait!
You mean me?
No, not you. That kid. Didn't you see? Little rascal grabbed my last 2 fresh Sunsettias and ran off. Look, if you're gonna help out here, you can't keep spacing out, okay? What is it? The work's too boring for you?
I wasn't paying close enough attention. Sorry, boss. I think you're right. Maybe it's the city. It's so exciting. It can be hard to focus.
Who's that guy? You know him or something?
Ese chico es Scaramuccia.
He's who?
You're a strange one, kiddo. You say you don't want any money for helping out here, and then when I actually give you some work to do, you keep letting yourself get distracted. I don't want to take advantage, so I'm happy to pay you what I'd pay anyone else. But if you keep acting like this, pretty soon I won't be able to afford to.
No, please. I mean it. You don't need to pay me anything. I'm just so thankful you agreed to take on an outsider like me.
You're welcome, I guess. But I got bigger things to worry about. Look, we're all out of Sunsettias, and I promised the lady down the street I'd deliver a fruit bowl this evening.
Leave it to me. I'll find some more. Just a moment.
Stop. I'm gonna level with you, kiddo. I've never met a worker who said they didn't want a wage before. And at first, I got greedy. Couldn't believe my luck. But I figured you'd start asking for something in return eventually. You don't want money. You don't take days off. And in your free time, all I see you do is wander around, taking in the sights. Are you a drifter or something?
That's right, I am. We can talk more about that later. First, let me get those fruits you needed. Sunsettias, was it? I'll be right back.
Hey, what do we do now?
Sigámosle.
Okay, stay out of sight.
¿Pero por qué no nos tiene que ver? Esto, desde luego, es top. O sea, aquí ya lo vemos con la nueva apariencia con la que ha venido como personaje. Ojo, a ver si hacen algo así con Signora, que la queremos todos. Todo el mundo quiere una Signora. Ya tenemos en este caso 2 Fatui, ya sabéis, ya tengo a Tartaglia y también tenemos aquí a nuestro amigo Scaramuccia. Así que vamos a ver.
Yeah, this'll do.
Even though you say he's the balladeer, what are we planning on doing? Stealing his Sunsettias?
Paimon.
Isn't that a bit too... Oh, alright.
This should be enough.
Trotamundos, ¿no?
Guess I should wash them before I take them back.
Ver para creer.
Huh? You two over there. Is there something I can help you with?
He spotted us!
You've been following me all the way from the city. I'd have to be blind not to notice.
Pues sí, te estábamos siguiendo.
Have we met before? No, we haven't met.
Así
Do you
es.
know me? I have no recollection.
Es difícil de explicar, pero yo sí te conozco.
Are you absolutely sure?
Sorry, but I just can't take your word for it.
Puedo demostrártelo. Eres una marioneta.
A puppet? What makes you think that?
Huh?
You were right! The look on his face!
I guess you do know me after all. That is not something I share with a lot of people. Look, I'm just a wanderer. But seeing as you've gone through all this trouble to track me down, I'm sure whatever it is must be important.
Me gustaría llevarte a un sitio.
Okay, but please let me deliver these goods to my boss first.
Are you really working for that guy? He said you don't want any more for it. Is that true?
Yes, I ran into him out in the wilderness during a storm, and he let me take shelter in his cart. In return, I said I'd be his helper for a while.
That's oddly nice of you.
Let me take these back. Then I'll come with you, okay?
De acuerdo.
Then let's return to the city.
Vale, pues volvamos a la ciudad. Esto me está flipando, ¿eh? Vale, ahora hay que volver al puesto de fruta, así que igual que hemos venido, volvemos. Ya os digo que todo esto implica que es como un acto completamente de redención para nuestro amigo Scaramuccia, y aquí como el errante, la verdad que es algo que mola bastante. A mí me ha gustado mucho el personaje, creo que es uno de los más tops, o lo que digo, ojalá me hubiera conseguido sacar una constelación ahí o algo más, o el arma otra vez, pero lo que digo, he tenido muy mala suerte con el personaje, así que nada, por lo menos hemos hecho algo. Pero bueno, personaje, historia muy top.
I'll leave them right here.
Oh, you really went and picked some more. Who are these two?
Hola.
Something's come up, and they need to borrow me. Sorry, boss.
¿Estos
I'm afraid
señoritas?
I'll be away from the stall for a while.
I was just about to pay you anyway. Go wherever you want, kid. Don't waste your time here.
What?
I get it, okay? You just wanted to help me out, to thank me for giving you shelter from the rain that day. Even then, I don't understand why you're so adamant that you don't want any pay for it. But look, it was pouring down, and there you were, sauntering along without a care in the world, like you had nowhere to be and didn't even care that it was raining. Imagine you were me for a second. It's a little weird, right? Why is this guy traveling during a rainstorm if he's not trying to get somewhere? But anyway, taking you in didn't put me out even slightly. You don't owe me a thing for it. Certainly not all this. Your time is valuable. You know, you should go live your life.
But I don't... No, you're right. Then I suppose this is where we say goodbye. Thank you again for taking me into the city.
Don't mention it, kiddo. I've run into all kinds of characters over the years. I just hope you find your path.
Thank you. All right, done. Thanks for waiting for me.
Vale, pues ya podemos irnos, así que vamos a ver qué pasa.
Don't worry about me.
¿Y ahora qué? Está arriba, ¿no? Vaya. Creo que está literalmente aquí. Vamos a volver para arriba y yo creo que con esto concluiremos una aventura que de verdad me ha parecido un entreacto muy bueno, ¿eh? O sea, es lore, es historia y hace que cojamos con muchas ganas, yo creo que la siguiente actualización. Así que on fire y a tope. Voy a aprovechar el resto de días de actualización para lo que digo, cubrir eventos y hacer sobre todo unas cosillas que me interesan bastante, que es el tema de los varana, para seguir haciendo esas misiones tan guays que hay, ¿vale? Así que don't worry, que tenemos contenido para rato.
What's wrong? Huh? Are you?
Hello. I do apologize for the sudden intrusion.
We found this guy in the street, but he doesn't seem to remember anything. So, yeah, quite an eventful walk.
Vale. Le contamos todo a Kusanagi.
You say that you are trekking across to Vat to train yourself. Many other Inazumans who describe themselves in this way call themselves Shugenja, why do you refer to yourself as a wanderer?
Well, it seems more relevant in my case. To me, it sounds like a plant with no roots. But these two claim that they know me, and that I have a hidden past unknown even to myself.
I wouldn't call it the past, but rather... this is a difficult one to explain. I don't like to rely on using terms like this often, but in your case, it seems that it ought to be called... Oh, like a past life or something? Yes, something far more distant than the past. So far away that you cannot perceive it.
Okay, I have to ask. What was I like in my previous incarnation? Oh, okay. You want to tell me, but you can't bring yourselves to say it. Looks like I didn't have the most wonderful existence in my previous incarnation.
Solo estábamos pensando en por dónde empezar.
If it's that difficult to talk about, I have no doubt it will be just as difficult to hear. But I'll be able to handle it. Please, tell me the truth.
Is truth something you care a lot about?
Yes.
Then I'll be straight with you. In your previous incarnation, you did many things that would be considered evil. You nearly died because of what other people did, and many died because of you. As a non-human being, you hated gods and humans alike. You drifted from place to place, never able to settle, even where you found status and identity. You adamantly believed that you were missing a heart. Actions rooted in persistence sometimes bear bitter fruit. Sometimes, you have to let parts of yourself go, or you'll never be happy.
Vale, parece que estamos contando todo.
I gave everything I had, but it barely changed history at all.
In terms of the outcome alone, that's true.
I don't think I can judge everything I've heard purely in terms of right and wrong. Each choice a person makes belongs to a specific place and time, a chain of cause and effect, a cycle of karma and consequence.
That is the nature of truth. If one thing is right, its opposite must be wrong. And yet, dichotomies like this are not enough to explain the world in all of its complexity.
It seems like my previous incarnation wasn't the most likable individual.
We're not trying to hurt your feelings or anything, but yeah, we weren't your biggest fans.
Éramos archienemigos.
If we were enemies, why are you trying to help me find the truth?
This is so frustrating! This guy's supposed to be our arch enemy, but now he's just some random stranger we met on the street! He's got so much to answer for, but we can't make him talk because he doesn't remember anything. What a weird situation.
Lesser Lord Kusanali, as the god of wisdom, I trust that everything you told me must be true.
Yes, it's all true. I can even show you the memories themselves, if you're willing.
Please, I want to see them for myself. I want to experience my own transgressions.
Even though it will cause your present self great mental anguish?
I'm just a puppet, with no heart and no name. There is nothing in this world for me to cling to fill the void within me. Except maybe these sins that can never be undone.
Very well. As you wish. Wait, shouldn't we go with him? This one's kind of on us for bringing him here.
Don't worry. Whatever danger I might face, it's my burden to bear.
Traveler, could I ask you to supervise him on my behalf?
De acuerdo, lo haré.
Oh, good point. Given your, unique situation, we'd better keep an eye on you.
Understood.
Thank you. Now, prepare yourselves, everyone.
Vale, entiendo que ahora hay que acceder a los recuerdos, ¿no? Vamos a ver. Recuerdos fluctuantes. Recuerdo de cierta marioneta podría tratarse de Scaramuccia, un miembro de los 11 Fatui, pero también podría ser el Kabukimono de Tarasuna. Vale, es un desafío de un jugador, así que vamos a ello. Y bueno, vamos con este equipo. Y lo que digo, al final, este pedazo de historia, como podéis ver, tiene su visión. Es una misión larga, obviamente. Pero bueno, estamos en Inazuma, así que vamos con la mazmorra, que entiendo que es el final de todo esto.
These memories will show you the raw truth. But be aware that enemies may react just like in the real world. Please be careful. Sounds like an immersive experience. It's a good thing we came along.
You don't need to do this for me. I don't deserve your protection.
We never give up halfway. Well, we had to once, but that was your doing.
All right.
Wanderer, this is the Shake Pavilion. In your Balladeer incarnation, this is where the Electro Archon placed you after your creation. Is that because this is kind of like his birthplace? You could say.
I hear a footstep.
This place is huge. I can't believe the landslide didn't fill it in. I wonder who built it. The Crystal Marrow Miners? No, there's no way. Look at this exquisite construction work, and so well preserved, too. There's someone passed out on the ground.
Who are you?
You're awake. What happened? How'd you get stuck here? Not a scratch. And these fine clothes.
This man is Katsuragi, deputy to Torichiyo's adopted son, Mikoshi Nagamasa. He found the Balladeer in Shake Pavilion and took him back to Tatarasuna. And the rest is history. Well, it used to be. In the original version of events, Katsuragi was ultimately killed by Nagamasa.
Let me get you out of here. Our people are nearby. Hang in there.
During the Tatarasuna incident, Niwa was murdered by the doctor disguised as a mechanic. The Balladeer, then known as the Kabukimono, disappeared not long after. As the second in command at Tatarasuna, responsibility for what had happened fell to Mikoshi Nagamasa. But Katsuragi had sworn lifelong loyalty to Nagamasa after the latter had once saved his life. At Katsuragi's insistence, Nagamasa killed him to put an end to the Tatarasuna incident. Katsuragi seems like he was a good guy.
He looks like a warrior.
Vale.
But he has a fine face. Why couldn't he live a long and happy
Vamos a
life?
explorar. Cofrecito siempre viene bien. Bueno, hay una insignia dentro, ojo.
Nagamasa, I found this young guy in a cave sealed off by a landslide. He doesn't remember his name.
Well, we need to call you something. I hear the workers are calling you the Kabukimono.
That's fine with me.
Katsuragi, report to Niwa. Tell him we have someone new joining us.
Aquí. Vamos, aquí abajo, a ver qué pasa. Pues está bastante guay. Me está flipando.
What are we doing back here?
Oigo voces.
Whoa, this is where you were born? It's pretty, but there's nobody here.
I was abandoned, like you. I lived here for a while at first, but there's nothing for us here. We can't stay.
Okay. I heard my mom and dad used to make swords, but the factory manager died, and then my dad got sick. He kept coughing all the time, just like me. Then Mom started coughing too.
But you can't. You promised me.
Yup, we're family now. We're gonna be together forever and ever. This child didn't have a name. Or rather, the balladeer didn't know what to call him. His father died before he could name him. After his mother died, the child stayed in their straw hut alone. Some of the neighbors helped to raise him. After leaving Tatarasuna, the balladeer ran into this child who didn't have a name, just like him. They made a promise to live together. What happened to the child then? He died from his illness while he was still very young. The balladeer came home one day and found that he had stopped breathing.
Hey! What's wrong? Say something! You promised me we could be family! You're no different from Niwa. The voices have gone.
Let's keep going.
Vale, parece que tenemos que seguir adelante, así que vamos a continuar explorando por aquí. Vale, pues vamos con Xiao a ver qué pasa por aquí. Ojo, hay varias trampas. Y aquí tenemos el siguiente nódulo de memoria. Vale, aquí por fin ya hay enemigos, tenemos Fatuis. Vamos a hacerla fácil. Cambiamos a Jin, cambiamos a Xiao, hacemos el busteo y al lío. Al lío, ya no hay bujón, ¿no? Vale.
The long fated rebellion has begun. Why not take your place at the banquet?
Vale, pues parece que estamos en el siguiente lugar. ¿Qué lugar tan oscuro?
Paimon knows this place. It's the delusion factory in Inazuma. In the original version of events, the traveler once encountered the balladeer here. Such a creepy atmosphere, and so familiar. Hey, look over there!
Well, well, my fair lady. Is this rundown factory and these incompetent fools all for me? Wow. You shouldn't have.
Huh. What do you have to gain from belittling your subordinates? You might not want to admit it, but you are a part of this plan. Perhaps you find fighting in the abyss to be a more meaningful use of your time? Oh, but of course, even this pales in comparison to being experimented on by the doctor.
What a sharp tongue you have. Funny how negotiating never seems to be your strong suit. For the task ahead, I suggest you keep your true feelings to yourself.
Save your breath. I know what I have to do.
I'm sure you think so, but I still think you need to hear it. Don't start thinking you're invincible.
Surely you're not worried about me.
I just can't have you getting in my way. You and Child never fail to find ways to complicate things.
I'm merely lighting a little fire in this chaotic nation. But you, being tossed out like trash, must make you want to destroy it completely. Do you remember the last time you were here? That was a lot of swordsmiths you killed. I'm sure the descendants of the Raiden Gokaden are still suffering the consequences now. Look at you. Oh, don't get so sentimental. Now, give that poor little tongue of yours a rest and stop pretending like you're above everyone else. Bye then. See you at the victory feast.
Poor little tongue? She's playing with fire talking to me like that. Who does she think she is? Forget it. Someone might find me here any minute now. I should prepare to give them a warm welcome.
The plot does not end here. There is more of this story to come. Wanderer, are you able?
Yes.
Bueno. Trotamundos está on fire, aquí todo... Vale, por aquí tenemos el enfrentamiento contra una de las Maiden, así que vamos a ir a golpear rápido. Hacemos el change at group y al lío.
I'm under no obligation to be nice to you. Besides, I thought nothing mattered to you except results and your own interests.
Vamos allá.
Isn't that right, witch?
Vamos a por ello.
Muddle-headed puppet.
Vamos allá. Y fuera. Vale, ahora aquí hay una maga Cicin y el otro, ¿no? Pues vamos a hacer lo mismo, ya sabéis. Tiramos con Yoimiya, cargamos un poquito su habilidad y vamos a soltar aquí todo el daño y el busteo que podamos. Vamos al lío. Esto va bastante sencillo con Xia, poca broma. Vale, Dilu. Soltamos aquí la ráfaga de fuego. Volvemos a golpear a la maga Cicin. Cambiamos el guiado y vamos a intentar quitarnos con la ulti por lo menos a la maga Cicin. Fuera la maga Cicin y ahora vamos con el recaudador Fatui. Listo. Vamos hacia el siguiente recuerdo. Pues ya lo estáis viendo, esto es la historia de Wanderer, la historia del errante. Está siendo magnífico. Aquí está la fábrica de Sumeru. Siguiente paso en nuestros recuerdos.
Considering that Amorta's sage, Nafis, refused to join this project, I'll take part in the experiment in his place.
Welcome. I look forward to a fruitful collaboration.
When do we start?
You seem impatient. You should know that becoming a god is far from a trivial affair.
The biological transformation is a lengthy process. As such, I too would recommend that we commence as soon as possible. In the event that a successful connection is established, his body will become permanently bound to the machine, and he will be unable to move independently of it.
Nothing worse than what I've been through before then, Doctor.
You were the most resilient test subject I ever came across. Thanks to you, I was able to garner a great deal of information.
Vaya.
Alas, after that, you were under orders to remain in the abyss. We barely saw each other, and it became difficult to further refine the knowledge I had gained.
That was gracefully worded. Ever wonder what they think if they knew that nothing matters to you?
I suggest you speak to me in a more respectful tone, Scaramuccia. The mere fact of your utility does not make you indestructible.
The doctor again? That was uncomfortable to watch.
That person gives off a very sinister energy.
Ese es Doctor, él es quien está detrás de todo esto.
It's normal for him to give you the creeps. He scares the bejeebers out of Paimon. Let's move on.
Vale, parece que tenemos que continuar explorando aquí por la fábrica, así que vamos a atravesar el siguiente nodo y vamos a ver qué hay detrás de todo esto en medio de esta mazmorra, que la verdad que está trayendo muchos recuerdos. Aquí parece que está el lugar donde nos enfrentamos a Wanderer. Y vamos a ver por qué esto es el punto más importante.
Yes, you are evil.
In your eyes, are there any differences between humans and puppets?
Do you think there are any differences between your present self and your previous and future incarnations? If not, then what are the differences between humans and puppets? Whoever has tasted the joys and sorrows of life in the human realm is human. Whoever has loved and lost, cried with grief, howled with rage at the tragedy of death that eclipses the miracle of life, they are human too.
I've seen enough of my past. If possible, I'd like to reclaim the sins that are mine to bear. No matter the consequences, I won't run from blame or punishment. Whatever I am due,
¿Quieres decir que...
can you return my memories to me?
Huh? But won't that mean you'll lose your current identity?
I've always believed that human lives follow a set of rules, with each person being a collection of past experiences. As a puppet living in a human world, my life is subject to the same rules.
Regaining your memories means reverting completely to your previous incarnation. All the emotions that you discarded will return to you. Are you sure you want to do this?
I've lived with the void in my chest my whole life. My creator didn't need me. And ever since I awoke, I've just drifted from one place to the next. But then I met you. And I finally realized that reclaiming my missing sins might be my one opportunity to...
¿Será esto a lo que se refería la reina mayor Ruca de Bata? Nadie puede eliminarse completamente a sí mismo y aunque Scaramuccia de antes se haya ido, esta nueva persona continuará viviendo en su lugar. ¿Los pecados de los que intentamos escapar son una parte inexorable de nuestro destino?
I've always felt I have an innate tendency to yearn for something more, in a way that goes deeper than for most people. But for all my soul searching as a Shugenja, I've never fully understood it. Looking at it now, it seems that I brought this curse upon myself. So I beg you, grant me this opportunity to gain a purpose, to change my destiny, and end my wandering.
Very well. Since your mind is made up, I will return to you that which is yours. You have made your decision. Now, take this.
Set him free.
A puppet? What's he doing here? You're a human as far as I'm concerned.
Everyone's here. Wonderful.
What a fine blade. Nagamasa will be thrilled.
This is my...
Is he alright? No way!
Tremenda cinemática, chavales.
All worthless dross will be purged. That's why this won't be the end. This is trying my patience.
Ojo, ojo, que viene boss,
Have you got any more stupid questions? The wind rises.
Insignificant past!
How amusing. Squall and Fury.
Bueno, la verdad que está bastante guay para probar un poco a nuestro amigo mejorado, ¿no?
At my command, you shall fall!
Too slow. The wind rises.
Insignificant past!
O sea, no podemos caer, ¿no? En esta parte. Es que me he quedado rayado en plan de, digo, ¿no? Me voy a curar lo que es prueba. Digo, vamos a probar un poquito a ver qué tal va. De momento, lo que digo, me gusta mucho, va bastante bien. Voy a caer otra vez, pero por lo menos le voy a quitar vida. Ahí estamos.
Insignificant past.
Allá. Con un poquito de suerte me lo cargo entero. Ahí está. Adiós. Ha estado top.
Imbécil. Get out of my
Imbécil.
sight.
Fuera de vista. Qué crack. La verdad que... Lo que digo, probablemente estamos ante uno de los interludios más top. No hace falta que hayan llamado a Daislave aquí. Esto ha sido una batalla brutal. Y bueno, vamos a ver qué pasa ahora.
Sorry. I'm harsh on myself and everyone else. Just the way I am.
Has recuperado tus recuerdos.
You sound like you're concerned about me, but don't worry. Thanks to you, even if I didn't change a thing, at least I now know the truth.
The memory recovery seems to have been a success. This dream has served its purpose.
Come on. Let's continue this outside.
Vale, pues vamos fuera. Aquí está Anatman. Hemos completado esto, así que entiendo que podemos salir tranquilamente por aquí. Vamos fuera del dominio. Ha estado muy guay el dominio, me ha parecido divertidísimo. Y lo que digo, todo lo que es explorar aquí, un personaje como es Scaramuccia, creo que está muy bien. Nahida nos da la bienvenida de nuevo.
You don't like being addressed by that name?
It's fine. But I was just thinking, I should probably change it.
¿Ya no quieres que te llamen Scaramuccia?
After learning about everything the doctor did, there's no way I can carry on using a name connected to him. I'm not planning on returning to the Fatui, and they wouldn't take me back anyway. Recent events will have affected a lot of people.
So, you're quitting the Fatui for good?
Digamos que es una retirada estratégica.
It's like you said, Lesser Lord Kusanali. Everything may look futile, but it wasn't completely meaningless. At least I made a lot of people forget about me.
But that doesn't mean your own past has disappeared.
Of course.
And your main goal, for which you gave up everything you had, you weren't able to achieve it. I hope you can see and understand that. Changing the world, changing the past, changing the fates of other people, these are not simple things to accomplish. What you are looking for is complete annihilation. But this is just a fantasy. Even if the Balladeer is removed from existence, the world will not heed your...
Indeed. How ridiculous.
Do you regret doing all that when you've gotten so little in return?
Even if I'm completely worthless, there's nothing in the world worth regretting. Lesser Lord Kusanali, you purposely left that information in Yrminsul, didn't you?
Yes, and I took pains to make sure that you'd acquire that information naturally.
Why would you go to such lengths? You trying to win me over too?
A ver, yo creo que le da una segunda vida,
your
realmente.
Past experiences have made you a useful asset to Sumeru and to me. Winning you over was indeed a part of my plan. But before that, I wanted to tell you the truth about your past. If all I wanted to do was use you, then I'd be no different from the doctor.
Very clever.
I guess you could say that's one of my virtues.
Utility to others is what gives me worth. So if embracing my sins is what it takes to make me useful again, so
Nahida no
be it.
piensa eso de ti, ¿eh?
Oh, right. I almost forgot. You're the good guys. You're into justice and all that. Sorry if I have a slightly different perspective on things, but I don't feel like I've been duped. The wisest leaders are fated to end up with the best helpers.
I'm glad you're able to think of it in that. Traveler, in the future, I'll continue to search Yrminsul more deeply and see what secrets can be uncovered.
Vale.
Including the beginning of your twins' journey recorded in Yrminsul. What exactly happened before and after that point? I want to know as well.
Gracias, Nahida. Espero que puedas encontrar algo.
I will try.
Traveler.
¿Qué quieres?
After I dove into the information torrents in Yrminsul, why did you go to Inazuma?
Quería saber qué había cambiado a causa de ello.
So that's how you found out whose fate had changed. And how? Well, whatever your reasons, you did me a favor. And I'll do everything I can to pay it back.
No lo hice para que me debieras un favor.
Borrowing and returning are the only real relationships between individuals. I'll balance the books one day. Don't you worry.
That's not true. A relationship between two people is not simply a ledger that can be reset to zero. I think deep down you realize this. People who show up in your life don't just evaporate like water drops and leave nothing behind. There is no such thing as balancing the books. Some things in this world can never be brought back, and they can never be changed. Everything that you feel is real and lasting, and whatever is missing in you will not be made whole. To be human is to live with imperfections. You can choose whether or not you want to be human.
But humans can't live without a heart, can they? Anyway, I gave up trying to become a human a long time ago.
You understand what pain is perfectly well, even without a heart. You're just bearing your feelings. The past is set in stone, but you can keep moving on. And the longer your future lasts, the shorter your past will become, until one day, it is but a tiny fraction of your life.
Sounds like you've got a future planned out for me.
Me gustaría que le dieras una oportunidad a Nahida.
Everything's ended up being pretty darn complicated. Paimon doesn't even know where to start, but...
Bueno, parece que se lo está pensando, el amigo. La verdad que ha sido largo, pero ha merecido la pena, esta quest.
Then I guess I'll be helping you from behind the scenes from now on.
¡Wow! ¿Vale?
I'm glad that you've accepted our proposal. Why don't you choose a new name to celebrate? Ooh! Paimon wants to pick an ugly nickname for you, too!
Why?
Because Paimon still doesn't like you that much.
Then I hope we don't see much of each other in the future.
A name is life's first gift. You didn't say it out loud, but I know that's what you're thinking. The Traveler and Paimon have helped you a lot. If you can't decide on a new name, maybe you
¿Quieres
can
que
ask
decidamos
them for
nosotros?
ideas. No, Paimon only does nicknames. If it's a serious name you're after, it's all yours.
Have you got anything?
Reglas sobre la modificación de nombre. Podrás cambiar el nombre del Trotamundos, el caminante eterno, a Nemo tras completar el capítulo intermedio de la misión de Arconte, la transposición de la Génesis usando el pincel de la resignificación. Ciertos nombres no serán válidos. Una vez cambiado algunas interfaces del juego mostrarán el nombre escogido. Solo se puede cambiar el nombre un número limitado de veces. Declaración. Asegúrate de que cumples el acuerdo de usuario de hacer el cambio del nombre para crear el ambiente de juego positivo y la ley confirma que no instigas a partir de la creación de contenido que discrimina a cualquier raza, religión, orientación sexual, etnia, tal. Tu uso de los servicios de juego. Vale. Es que Trotamundos me mola. Otra opción sería ponerle Kuzushi, pero yo lo voy a dejar en Trotamundos. Voy a dejarlo así. Es lo que digo, a mí me gusta Trotamundos. Sí, creo que es perfecto para ti.
Alright.
Yo, de momento, lo que digo, no tengo pensado poner otro nombre. Nos van a dar el pincel, pero creo que es lo que digo, es un nombre que le queda bien al personaje.
Take your time. I don't need to see you again until you've thought of one.
¿Qué vas a hacer ahora?
Everyone who manipulated me and made me suffer will have to pay the price.
You mean the Fatui?
The doctor, at least.
Vale, parece que
Now that
contra
your stance
Doctore
has
tendrá algo que ver.
I believe your future path will change accordingly. But it won't be immediate. You still need some time to compose yourself.
One more thing. There are still some descendants of the Raiden Gokuden living in Inazuma. Some of them know. Well, they ought to know about the connection between Raiden Gokuden and myself. I don't plan to leave Sumeru for the time being. If you see them in Inazuma, please tell them that I was the one responsible for the Raiden Gokuden's downfall. Even though the events have been erased from the world, they still deserve to know the truth.
I see. That is up to you.
Huh? But if we do that...
It's fine. Let them stab their blades into my chest if they so desire. Maybe that's how it always should have been.
De acuerdo.
No nonsense. I like it. All right. Goodbye, wise deity. And you too.
He's gone.
What he went through today would have been like living an entire lifetime in an instant. He'll need some time to calm down.
Yeah, true. But even so, after everything that's happened, he doesn't seem quite as fierce anymore.
Por lo menos ha acabado todo.
So we can finally go eat? Paimon is starving.
Thank you both. I hope you will find somewhere nice to go and
Vale, pues parece que aquí esto estaría terminado. Lo que digo, ha sido largo, pero creo que ha merecido la pena de principio a final. Ha sido una misión legendaria de Arconte que está muy top. Y bueno, estos dos siguen así con sus cosas, ¿no?
I heard that Mikoshi Nagamasa died at a ripe old age. He's the perfect fit to be the narrator of the epilogue. The dark clouds had dissipated, but they continued to cast their shadow in Mikoshi Nagamasa's mind for decades to come. Then, one night, as an old man, he had a dream. On the night when that prized blade, the Daitatara Nagamasa, was forged, the people rejoiced, and there was painting, dancing, and drinking. All these expressions of joy melted down in the furnace fire and turned into red clouds that rallied around the final sunrise that Mikoshi Nagamasa saw in his lifetime. Life is a story too long to be told, a journey that you must walk to behold.
Topísimo este final, me mola. Ha quedado muy guay la historia, la verdad que ha sido una auténtica pasada. Y bueno, parece que tenemos que ir a descansar y ya terminamos esto, así que vamos a ello. Vamos con Xiao. Vamos a dejarnos caer un poquito por aquí. Ya descansar. Aquí está. Pues nada, parece que con esto Paimon y el viajero se vienen aquí de chill. Y toca un descansito antes de la siguiente aventura. Te compraré algo rico como recompensa.
Wow, great! Huh? Look at the vase.
¿Qué le pasa?
Did someone break it while they were cleaning the room or something? But Paimon doesn't remember there being a cleaner.
Lo rompió Paimon, no se acuerda.
You sound lost and confused.
¿Eh? ¿Quién eres?
I know why you are troubled. Any who knew of this would find their mind overwhelmed.
What? Huh? Is there someone here talking to us?
Unfortunately, the fate of Tevat cannot easily be changed.
Algo
Perhaps
pasa.
a god may have a slim chance. When a small animal runs into a tree trunk, though the tree may sway, it is not displaced, like a vase that falls to the ground. Whether it is broken by a cat or by a bird, the result is still a broken vase, is it not?
Who are you? How do you know about all this?
History does not change easily, but human hearts can. Believe your own eyes. Only that which you see is true. What is unseen is but an illusion.
The voices disappeared. And who the heck was that? And what were they doing coming out of nowhere and saying all that scary stuff?
¿Que confíe en lo que veo? ¿Se referiría a mis recuerdos?
Anyway, that face is still lying there broken on the ground. It feels wrong just leaving it there. Just a moment. Paimon will be right back.
Bueno. ¿Qué me deparará el futuro? Momentazo, este interludio ha estado bastante guay. Intermedio del acto 3 me ha gustado. La transposición de Génesis, lo que digo, han sido 2 vídeos, pero ha molado muchísimo. Hemos conseguido un montón de cositas, así que ha estado muy merecida la cosa. Tenemos aquí para volver a cambiar el nombre del Trotamundos, por si queréis vosotros ponerle un nombre. Yo he decidido dejarlo como Trotamundos porque me gusta bastante el nombre de Wanderer, creo que está bastante top. Y nada más que decir, si os ha molado el vídeo, por favor dejad el buen like, suscribiros al canal para estar al tanto de todas las notificaciones, todos los vídeos de Genshin y de todo lo demás que subo. Y como siempre, recordad que ahora mismo en comentarios me podéis dejar qué os gustaría ver a continuación, si el evento o misioncitas de los bananas. Dejádmelo porque es muy importante para ver cómo sigo con la publicación de los próximos vídeos de esta versión de Genshin Impact. Nada más que decir, si os ha molado el vídeo, como siempre, os veo en el próximo y que vaya bien por todo Teyvat, viajeros y viajeras. Hasta la próxima.
So